Hi, my name is Jason Birnbaum. I'm the golf teaching professional at Alpine Country Club in Demorest, New Jersey, and I'm here to help you improve your golf game. If you look at current golf statistics, there are two important numbers that stick out. One, rounds are down, and two, handicaps are up. This means that less people are playing golf, and the ones that are playing poorly. The reason why scores aren't improving, in my opinion, is because of the difficulty of the game. There are a lot of variables that come into play. How can we eliminate many of these variables? I say skip the takeaway. Most swing errors, especially for average golfers, take place in the beginning of their swing, the first few feet off the ball that we call the takeaway. Oftentimes you'll see high handicap players swinging the club too far to what we call the inside, where they swing it around their body and get it too far underneath the original plane. Or you'll see people take the club too far outside the line, where their body won't be as engaged enough and they will take over more with their hands and arms and lift the club out and above the plane. The other important area off the ball is the club face position. Oftentimes, especially slicers, they'll swing back and roll the club face to too much of an open position, whereas other times golfers will swing back with the face extremely closed. So the two biggest areas that go off early is the club swings off plane and the position of the club face gets off. By skipping the takeaway, you ensure that both of these are good. The club is on plane and the club face is square. Let me start by showing you what I mean by a no takeaway backswing. Skipping the takeaway basically means starting your swing in this position so that the club is parallel to your feet and parallel to your target line. It also means having the club face in a square position so that the toe is pointing up to the sky. It's okay to have the toe a little bit down, especially if you struggle hitting the ball to the right, but the two most important positions, having the shaft when it's parallel to the ground be in line with your feet and pointing at your target, and having the toe of the club point up to the sky. It's important when starting the no takeaway swing to start in the correct posture. You want to start in a conventional way so that your knees are flexed, you are bending at the waist, and your back is straight. Don't start your swing in this position because it will throw off your stance, especially your alignment. Set up conventionally, make sure your toes, knees, hips, and shoulders are all parallel to each other and parallel to the target line. From here, you can swing the club back, make sure it's parallel to the ground and your feet, and that the toe of the club is pointing in the right position. A good practice drill for the no takeaway backswing is using a stick or a golf club. Stick it on the ground, pointing at your target, halfway between your feet and where the golf ball would be. You want to take, again, conventional setup, and then swing the club back to the takeaway position, making sure that the shaft is parallel to the club on the ground. If the club is too far this way, it means it's to the outside, or if it's behind you, you can see that the shaft is not in line with the stick on the ground. So start normal, swing the club back to the perfect takeaway position so that it's parallel to the ground. Again, make sure that the toe is up in the air, and make sure that you're parallel to the stick. Once you've got the club in the right takeaway position, all you've got to do is think more about your big muscles, your left shoulder, your chest, and your back, and wind to the top by getting your left shoulder behind the golf ball, and think about getting your back to the target. This will take your hands and arms out of the shot, make it less manipulative, and get you using your big muscles more, getting to the top of the swing. An important area in the golf swing is having the correct sequence. This sequence is important because the club head has to travel from this starting position all the way to the top of the swing, which is the furthest part to travel. Your shoulders only turn on a 90-degree angle to the top, and your hips only turn at about 45 degrees. Everything has to get to the top of the swing at the same time, but because they're traveling different distances, they've got to leave at different times. This means the club head has to travel the furthest on the takeaway. Skipping the takeaway gives you a chance to get the club head moving the furthest. It's moved several feet from where it started. My hands have only moved an inch, and my body has yet to move. From here, I can turn everything to the top together, in sync, and get into a good backswing position. Several years ago, two highly respected golf instructors wrote a cover story for Golf Magazine that they titled The No Backswing Swing, where you literally would start your swing at the top and swing down and hit shots from there. I thought it was a good idea because it doesn't give you a chance to swing the club offline early, but it doesn't really give you a chance to create good speed. It robs you of timing, sequence going back, getting a good coil and getting a good wind up, and doesn't allow everything to fall into place. I like the no takeaway swing a little bit better because you're only skipping the first few feet off the ball, which are really the slowest parts of the swing anyway. From here, you're able to gain speed, gain momentum, and find the right timing and rhythm to hit good shots. My no takeaway backswing is great for hitting both woods and irons. With woods, it's helpful to start with a club above the ground because by utilizing the big muscles in your upper body, you're able to swing the club more around you on a flatter plane, which is great when hitting all kinds of fairway woods and drivers. With irons, it creates great torque and resistance as you keep your lower body really stable. Think about turning your upper body against your lower body. Creates a lot of torque, a lot of resistance, and maximizes distance and accuracy. I'm sure you've noticed a lot of PGA Tour and LPGA Tour players have incorporated what we call pre-shot routine into the swing, where when they're standing over the ball, before they make a swing, they swing the club back to a position of the takeaway that they're working on. They check it, make sure it's in the right position, and then go back to their normal setup and hit the shot. What I don't like about this is oftentimes you'll see them rehearse a move and then swing the club back in a completely different position. Why not just start the club in the position they want to swing it to, and from there, they can swing to the top. I'll use PGA Tour professional Ryan Moore as an example of someone who's had good success with this swing. Several years ago, Ryan hurt his wrist and couldn't get the club to swing in the proper takeaway position without putting too much stress on it. So he skipped the takeaway and actually started with the club above the ground, and from here, swung back to the top and hit golf shots. Ryan played great doing that. He came in 5th in the Masters one year by skipping his takeaway. All shows you that good golf swings don't have to start in the same place they always have. So we've talked about a lot of information today, but all of this is in an effort to make the game a little bit easier. To recap today's session, eliminate the areas that get golfers into the most trouble, the takeaway. Start from a normal posture, swing the club back so that it's parallel to the ground, make sure that it's in the same line as your feet, pointing it down your target line. Make sure that the toe of the club's up in the air. From here, you've got good path, good plane, good club face position. Take your left shoulder, swing it behind the ball so that your back's to the target, and from there, you'll be in the perfect backswing position.